We have a bulletin just received.
I've never encountered anything like this world.
Interactive projects in Apple Keynote. This video covers the basics for creating an interactive project using Apple Keynote. It's really easy to import content into Apple Keynote and link it to other content. As mentioned in the previous video, Apple Keynote is a surprisingly full-featured application that is frequently used in professional environments to create interactive mock-ups and prototypes for games, software, and devices. Create a new project. The first thing that we're going to do is open up Apple Keynote. We'll go to the dock and we'll click on Keynote to open it. And we'll go to File, New. And I strongly suggest you pick one of the first two, one of the basic presentations, black or white. Don't pick something with a pre-made template or look to it. You want to establish your own design. So let's select the white one and hit Choose. And it opens up and we have one slide in a new document. So you could edit this text and change its appearance and keep it, but for our purposes, let's just select it and hit Delete so it's a blank slide. Now we're going to add 7 more slides, all of them blank. Hit the plus over Add Slide and pick the blank one. Click. Another blank one. Another blank one. And one more after this. So we got 8 blank slides. Now let's save it. File, Save, and make sure that your name is on it and it's a Keynote file .key, and make sure you're saving it someplace where you're aware of it. Might as well save it to the desktop. Scott Ligon, Interactive, and hit Save. The good news is that you don't have to export anything. Everything embeds by default into your Keynote document, so you just have to give me your Keynote document on the due date. So in your project you can have images, you can have movies, you can have animations, or any combination, whatever works for your design and the purpose of your interactive project. Drag in images. So first let's drag in some images. So inside of your folder, Exercises, Keynote Instructions, we have 2 folders, Images and Videos. Click the little arrow in Images so you can see them. We have 5 images. So I'm selecting slide number 1 and I'm scooting it over. And I'm dragging number 1 iPad onto it. We'll neaten it up later. Selecting slide number 2. I'm going to 2 iPad. Selecting slide number 3 and dragging 3 Safari. Selecting slide number 4, GarageBand. Select slide number 5, and we have 5 Calendar. So we're going to create some simple links. We can zoom over here. You can do Fit in Window to make sure you have the whole slide showing. You can zoom way out, or you can zoom in to look at details or work on details, but it has a fit in window so you know you're seeing the whole slide. And actually the position of this looks pretty good. Link images. So it's really easy to select an object. Just click on the object to select it. And since it's covering the whole page, you can barely see the little corners, but you know it's selected when you see those little corners. So let me zoom out a little bit. So now you can see the little selection corners. I'll just leave it like this. So anything that you can select, you can link to something else. So we want to create a link so when you click anywhere on this entire object, which covers the entire slide, then it'll go someplace else. So the way to do that is you go to Format, Add Link. And since this is selected, it's going to link to this. So when you click anywhere on this entire image, it'll go to wherever I tell it to go. So in this case, we actually want it to go to slide 2. So you could actually leave it on next slide, which is the default, but that's the only time you'll ever do that. So let's just practice and do everything the way we're going to do every single link. We'll go to the last one and link to slide 2. Okay? And you know there's a link now, a hyperlink, because you see this little arrow symbol. Okay? So now if anybody clicks on anything, they probably will click on the words go to home screen because that looks like an obvious link, but everything is linkable. So if they click anywhere on anything, it'll go to the next slide. Link invisible hotspots. Okay, so now I go to slide 2, and that actually looks pretty good already too. And this time we don't want to link the entire object. If I selected the entire object and I linked it, then I could create one link and this image could take me to another slide, but that's not what I want here. What I want is to be able to select individual apps and it takes me to different places. So for the purpose of our demonstration, we're going to click on Safari and go to Safari, click on GarageBand and go to GarageBand, and click on Calendar and go to Calendar. So how do we do that? It's all one image. How do we link parts of one image to one place and then another part of the image to another place or another slide? The way that you do that is to create invisible hotspots. So if you go up here to Shape, click, and you pick a rectangle, and you can adjust the size of this, but actually that's a pretty good size. And what we want is to create a shape over the icon of the app, but we want it to be invisible. So we give it a fill of none, no fill, and a border of none. So now it's selected there, but it's invisible. Okay? So while it's still selected, it's the invisible hotspot that I'm creating a link for. So I go to Format, Add Link, and I'm looking, Safari is on slide 3. See? So I go to slide 3. And there it is with a hyperlink. And then I'm going to create another shape. Fill, no fill, border none. So it's invisible and it's over GarageBand. And I'm going to go to Format, Add Link. And I will link to slide 4. Has the GarageBand picture on it. All right? And one more. And of course you could create invisible hotspots for every single app if you wanted to. No fill, invisible, over Calendar. And where's Calendar? It's on slide 5. So I go to Format, Add Link, slide 5. Okay. Create a back button. Let's go over here and let's create a back button. So go to Text, and here's the text caption, kind of hard to see, and I'm clicking in it and I'm typing the word back. Okay, and I'm going to select it like I'm word processing, and I'm going to make it, instead of Helvetica regular, I'll make it Helvetica, well, I'll just make it Helvetica bold, and I'll make it bigger, and I'll make it white, and I'm going to do one other thing actually. I'm going to create a shape again, and I'll put the shape in back of the word back. I'll leave it blue because it kind of goes with the website. So we have to go to Arrange, Send Backward, and it goes in back of the word back. So basically what I want to do is select the caption, the rectangle. So if we select the caption, then if they hit any place inside there, then it would be linkable. So we could do Format, Add Link, and we want to go back to slide 2. Because once you get to here, you want to be able to navigate back to the iPad screen. And just to make sure the words are linkable too, I'm selecting the word as well, and I'm going to also link that one to slide 2. Okay? Now, I'm selecting that, holding down the Shift key and selecting the word as well and doing copy. All right? Now I'm going to GarageBand and I'm doing paste. Command V, paste. So here it is with the same link still intact. Same thing with the calendar. Paste. Right, so I have a back button on all of that. So now I'm back to slide 1 to start our project. And we'll hit the play button. And this is linkable. I'm seeing the little hand button instead of a cursor showing me there's a hyperlink. So if I click, it takes me to the iPad and no hyperlinks, but there are hyperlinks on the 3 apps where we created the invisible hotspots. So if I click on Safari, click, here's Safari. I can click on back, takes me back to the iPad. If I click on GarageBand, click GarageBand. Click on back, I'm back. Click on calendar, calendar, then back. So as you see, anything that you can create inside of Keynote, you can make a hyperlink, and you hit the escape key to get out of the presentation. So you can link text, you can link any object you create, and you can link any object that you bring in to your Keynote document. And you can create invisible shapes, invisible hotspots over parts of an image where you can select the individual invisible hotspots and give them links to different places. So you can create different links within one image. Links only. One other important thing, go to Document over here, and where it says Presentation Type Normal, make sure that you choose Presentation Type Links Only. Because if you think about it, what does a normal Keynote presentation or a normal PowerPoint presentation do? You click on it and it goes to the next slide, right? So if you have normal, all of your links will work, but also if you click any place accidentally off of a link, it'll go to the next slide, so it'll completely mess you up. So make sure you choose links only for your interactive presentation. Drag in movies. So now we're going to place some movies and create some links for the movies. Okay, so we have 3 movies in our videos folder, 1 left and right. Okay, so movie 1 will go in slide 6. So we select slide 6 and we bring our movie 1 over. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm selecting slide 7 and I'm bringing movie left. Okay. Now I'm selecting slide 8 and I'm going to movie right and dragging it right over. And what we want is for this movie to play, and then at the end, text will come up and it'll give me other options. Should I turn left or should I turn right? And then we'll go to one or the other of these depending on what we picked. So before we do that, let's click on slide 7 and hit paste again and put our back button there, and slide 8 and put our back button again. So really think about your exercise and where you put a link to, because when you get to the end, for instance, if you have a thing that has multiple different kinds of ends because you're going in different ways depending on the choices that you make, then once you hit a dead end, you're going to want a back button to go back to the beginning without having to exit the presentation and then go back to slide 1 manually, because people might want to play more than once. Hopefully they will. So now let's go back to slide 6 and let's click on text and click on it to word process, and we'll go left, and I'm going to make the presentation. We're going to go to format here to word process. Instead of Helvetica Light, we'll go to Helvetica Bold, and I'll make it bigger. And then I'm going to drag, I'm holding down the option button. I'm selecting this, so the outside is selected, and hitting the option button and dragging a copy. And I'll move it over here then and see how it kind of tells you when it's on the same line with it. And I'll go right. Okay, now I'm going to select these and make sure that they're centered. That's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to select this entire rectangle to create a link to, as opposed to the text inside of it. And I'll go to Format, Add Link. And this one, to go to the left, goes to slide 7. There we go. And I'm going to select this one, Format, Add Link, and this one goes to slide 8. Slide 8. Uncheck Start Movie on Click. Let's click on the movie to select it, and we'll go to the word movie over here under Format, Format Movie. You can trim the beginning and the end of your movie over here. So you can do that right inside of Keynote. Repeat, we want none. We don't want it to loop, right? So that's on the right place. But uncheck the box that says Start Movie on Click. So your movie will start automatically. That's what we want. Okay? Then we go over here, select that movie. Same thing. Don't start movie on click. Select the movie. Don't start movie on click. Text appear animation. Now we want to go back here and we want to animate our words. Why do we want to animate our words? Well, we want the entire movie to play and then have the words appear. You don't want to give people a new choice before they've even seen what happens with their last choice. Right? So we want this to play and then give new choices. So to do that, you have to apply an animation effect called appear. So we need to know how long the movie is before we can animate, before we know how long before we make the text appear, right? So if we select the movie, and let's click this triangle again to edit movie, and we can see that the movie is 13.958 seconds. So basically it's 14 seconds. So I want the word left and right to appear at the same time after 14 seconds. So I select the word left, the caption, and I go to animate, and I keep build in, and I click add an effect, and I choose appear. Okay, and it shows you, gave you a little demo if you noticed, and I hit build order. This is important, and I don't want on click. I want with build 1, and I want to delay it 14 seconds. You could actually type it in. I guess I will, so you don't have to sit and watch me click lots of times. Okay, so 14 seconds. All right. So now I click on this one, and I want appear, and I don't want on click. I want with build 1. One more thing before we play our interactive movie. Let's go back to 7. And let's select the word back and go to Format, Edit Link, because we don't want it to go back to slide 2 like the other hyperlinks to back. We want it to go back to slide 6, the initial video. Okay? So I'm going to go to slide 6 with my edit, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the rectangle, Format, Edit Link, and go to slide 6 instead. So you can always edit your links. If you link to the wrong thing, just go to Format, Edit Link. Okay, same thing with this. Format, Edit Link, slide 6. And Format, Edit Link, slide 6. So everything should be set up. So now I'm going on to slide 6 to start, and I'll hit play. My movie will play automatically. That's my crazy bedroom, by the way. It's my wife's painting. So we're looking to the left, we're looking to the right. And then when the video stops, the words should appear, left or right. So let's pick left. And we go into the room to the left. That's our bathroom. So you can see your professor not dressed up for the summer. And then I hit back to go back to slide 6. The movie plays again. Left or right? And I'll choose right this time. And I'm going to the right and looking out the window, I think. And back, so I get back to the movie again. So remember, every time you get to a dead end, I'm hitting the escape button to get out. Every time you get to a dead end, make sure there's a back button that returns you to the beginning or wherever you want to go so you can continue your adventure. Really think through the entire experience and test all the links. Export movies from Adobe After Effects. So if you're doing a keynote presentation that involves videos, either movies or animation, then it's really important that you create them using the right resolution, the right size, and the right compression format. Because if you make full high-definition videos that are uncompressed, then the file's going to be really, really huge. And pretty soon, if you have a lot of them in your presentation, you're going to find that it might be really hard to play back your keynote presentation and make it work right. So just follow these simple rules for exporting video. In After Effects, if you make an animation movie, and each slide would contain its own little segment of your animation, right? So you're going to have lots of different movies. You would go to Composition, Add to Render Queue, and where it says Best Settings, you click on that, and you choose Time Span Length of Comp, just to make sure you get your whole composition. Then where it says Lossless, this is where some important changes should be made. We choose Format Options. Animation compression is really nice looking, but it's a lossless compression that makes a huge file size. And if you don't change anything in After Effects, it'll make that by default. And that's a bad thing for your keynote presentation because it'll be a huge file size and it'll slow things down or maybe make your presentation not work right. So go to Format Options and choose where it says Video Codec. That's the method of compression, not animation, but H.264. So that'll make a nice looking movie, but a much smaller file size. Really important, Video Codec H.264. Hit OK. And one other thing, hit Resize. We don't want 1920 by 1080. Where it says Custom, or whatever it says right there, I'm going to go to HDV/HDTV 720 29.97. Okay? And if you did that right, you'll see it's 1280 by 720, and that's the ideal size for a standard keynote presentation. Then you hit OK, and you click on Output To, and you call it something, Waves, and you output it to whatever you do. You could make a new keynote folder and keep all of your individual movies in it or whatever too, just to keep you organized, okay? And then you'd hit Save and Render to render the movie. If you use those settings, you'll make a movie that's perfect for Keynote. Export movies from Adobe Premiere. If you're preparing little movies to export from Premiere and place into each of your slides, you can go to File, Export Media, and choose Format, QuickTime, Preset. This is different. Choose HD 720p 24, H.264, etc. 720. Okay? So again, 1280 by 720, which is the perfect resolution for your Keynote document that we've set up. Audio is AAC, that's compressed, but it'll still sound good. And we hit Export. And now you've exported a movie from Adobe Premiere that is perfect for your interactive Keynote presentation. So that's it. Just hand in your Keynote file. No exporting needed. I'm looking forward to navigating through your interactive work.